Blake Snell, after another frustrating? Does that count for yesterday? Frustrating.
For sure.
Yesterday was not embarrassing, though. They've gone from bad to just like not that great. These outings are not, right? They didn't take him out of the game. They were still able to win the game.
He lowered his ERA.
Right. Well, of course he did.
To 10.69
you have to get shelled for that ERA to go up.
Yeah.
But these interesting comments after the game.
The one thing I would say, like big league spring training, you need it. Yeah. It's tough to do it. Like, I thought I did everything I could to be ready. And then even just after 2 weeks, like noticing how much better I was throwing the ball, just being here every day. You can't, there's nothing like, you have to go to spring training. So hopefully, for me, I hope teams see that. And, I don't know what Montgomery's doing, but I bet it's tough for him. Like, it's not easy. So I didn't face a big league hitter until I pitched my first game in the big leagues this year, and it's tough. You just have nothing to go off of. You're just kind of like, let's see what we got. Faced 18-year-olds, but so it's all excuses, but it's the truth.
Yeah, okay. So, it's all excuses. Don't want to use it. But by the same token, the interesting comment in there is, quote, I hope teams see this.
Yeah.
And, I completely acknowledge, and you should say it again for anyone who missed the crossover, I totally acknowledge what your take is on this, but I also for me, that feels frustrating. To me, that feels like when two of my kids are fighting over something stupid. Right? There's one bag of microwave popcorn left. I want it. No, I want it. And you're sitting there, you're like, dummy, it's very clear what you two should do here. I know you want the whole bag to yourself, but you're going to make the bag, and there's going to be two bowls, and you get your bowl and you get your bowl. Stop being dumb and fighting about this. The answer's very clear.
Yeah.
So same thing here. I'm sure Blake Snell thinks it's the team's fault. I'm sure the teams think it was Scott Boris's fault. I have no idea how those conversations went. I just think you're all wrong. You're all wrong. And in fact, so is baseball. You have to find a way so that especially high-level free agents are not sitting there looking for a job in March. That just doesn't. Who wins?
Scott Boras. Scott Boras wins.
Did he?
He gets whatever percentage of $32 million. He wins.
He wanted a 7-year deal, and he got one.
Right.
So that's a lot less money for Scott Boras.
It is, but...
And he got fired by one of his guys.
But it doesn't matter that Blake Snell has a 10.42 ERA. He's not getting paid based on Blake Snell's performance.
Well, it does based on the fact that I'm sure their hope was, okay, we're not going to get the long-term deal this time. Go kick butt, and we'll get the long-term deal next offseason.
Well, he'll kick butt next offseason when he actually shows up to spring training.
Well, but he's not going to get a long-term deal again if he pitches like this.
I didn't like his tone of, I hope the teams realize that spring training's important. Oh. Memo to Blake Snell, every team has held spring training since before you or I or Blake Snell was even born. Spring training's been a thing for, I don't even know how long, 70 years? These teams understand the value of spring training, which is why they hold spring training. They open up camp in February so that their players can come in and be the best player that they can be. So don't try to pretend like, boy, I hope the teams realize that spring training's important.
No, but
Blake, they know that spring training's important, right, my friend.
But what I don't know, and therefore why I'm not willing to rip Blake, is I don't know what the teams said to Blake Snell and Scott Boras. Maybe the Giants were like, yeah, we have this offer, but it's on hold right now. We're going to see how some things play out with some of our other players here at the start of spring training. We'll let you know if it's on the table or not. I don't know. Maybe that happened. Maybe it didn't. Right. I don't know. It would have been great for a follow-up question, which apparently we did not get, but maybe next time we have Blake on, I'll ask. So when you said maybe the teams will realize that, what did you mean? What did you mean by that? Why is it the team's fault? But, to me, it's everybody. It really is. Scott Boras clearly misplayed his hand. However, the teams also did not do whatever was necessary in order to get these players signed on time. Baseball has done a horrible job of making its free agency period a thing, the same way the NBA and the NFL does.
Right.
They figured it out. Free agency opens, and it's a flurry. It's a week of unbelievable entertainment on social media when those two sports open up for free
because
agency.
they have an actual period.
Right.
They have an opening date. They don't have a closing date, but they have an opening date.
Right, but why
And
does
that's when it all happens.
But why does everybody sign right away? And in baseball, free agency opens, and they're like, it's the winter meetings. And everyone's like, we're making calls.
Right.
And we're laying groundwork. Oh, God. 6 months later, will somebody do something? You got to figure that out. You got to figure it out.
Well, their winter meetings should be in January, honestly, or they should be much later in the year. That way, guys can sign and they can just get right to work with their new teams. There's no urgency in the winter meetings in November and December. So these players, and when Scott Boras is your agent, and he's known for getting every last dollar, and you sign on with a guy who is known for getting every last dollar, don't come crying to the teams over no spring training when you hired an agent who is known for dragging you out into the 11th hour.
Yeah,
That's for me. And when he says, I hope the teams realize about, the importance of spring training. Yeah, they've been holding spring training year after year after year. Of course they know the value of it.
He's talking about timing. And again,
And he dictated his own timing.
Not necessarily.
He probably could have come in and said, you know what, I'll play for $25 million.
Well, nobody shouldn't do that. Why should he do that?
He shouldn't do that, but at the same time, don't hold out for every last dollar and then complain about no spring training.
But that's what people do. Again,
you can't have it both ways, is my point.
No, but
he's trying to have it both ways.
But you don't know what the team did. You don't know. That's all I'm saying.
I know what the league did.
No,
the league said we don't want to pay whatever you think that you're worth. If the league as a collective thought that they could get a deal with Blake Snell and Scott Boras earlier, they would have. I'm sure many teams, almost every team was calling and trying to get a deal done, but Scott Boras wanted more than the teams wanted to pay.
I hear you, and you might be right.
It's just an assumption.
I just think you're making an assumption.
I think it's a safe assumption.
Yeah, except for, Blake Snell's the one with a microphone here. There's no person in the history of negotiations ever that doesn't think the other side was the one who messed it up. That's just life.
Right.
Right? You think that with your deal. I'm going to think that with my deal. Everybody's going to walk away being like, that other side. What a bunch of idiots.
But when I get the microphone the day after my deal's done, I'm not complaining about corporate or management. And, I can't do a good show today, Mark. The next 2 weeks of my show is going to be bad because I didn't have spring training.
Well, but our job's a little bit different.
It is.
But if you were out here just uncorking bad shows and
bad takes,
I didn't know if I was going to have a deal.
Yeah,
so,
exactly how that played.
Kind of got out of practice. I just started eating popcorn and going to the zoo every day.
Haven't watched a second of sports.
You know what I mean?
Had that play in the corner office. I need a month of free shows.
And he also said, he's like, I thought I was doing everything that I could without facing big league batters to stay ready and in shape.
And then he takes a shot at 18-year-olds.
Well,
I'm out there pitching to 18-year-olds. What can you expect?
Well,
here's an idea. Go to spring training and pitch against other grown-ups, and then maybe you wouldn't be so bad.
I'd like to take a shot at teenagers, too. They have no clue about anything. Anyway.
You're asking an 18-year-old who's never been in the bigs to go up against a two-time Cy Young Award winner? Of course you're not going to be sharp.
All I'm doing is leaving open for the possibility that I don't know how the Giants or the Yankees or anyone handled this. I don't know what they were doing. Maybe they were playing hardball, too. I'm sure they were. This is big-time stuff. These are $30-something million deals here that we're talking about. I have no idea who did what.
Right.
So from that position, all I can do is kind of hold everyone accountable. Baseball, your free agency's boring. Blake, Scott Boras did you dirty, and you went along with it. And Giants, you also have traditionally played the waiting game. And your reasoning for doing that is to save every single dollar. Blake wants every dollar. The Giants want to save every dollar. Like I could just as easily, if you're saying, hey, Blake, go play for 25, I could say, hey, Giants, give him 35. What the hell's the difference? I don't care.
I don't either.
Right.
But don't sign in mid-March and complain about no spring training.
Well, again,
that's my take.
Everybody's head was hard, is my read.
Right.
Most likely.
Right. And here's my biggest takeaway in all of this, and this is what I said to the group, and it was earlier today. I'm not even worried about how badly he's pitching because he always pitches badly until July 1st.
Not this bad.
Correct.
Not this bad.
No, but after June 30th, his career ERA is 2.50, and that's across his entire career. July is 2.67, August is 260. September is 225, his ERA. In July, August, September, and a little piece of October. So I'm expecting that even with no spring training and being absolutely horrendous so far, and he hasn't been that bad, but your ERA is 10.42. And we're now coming up on June, and I know he's got a baby on the way. He and his girlfriend are having a baby, so maybe that's a distraction. When we get to July 1, for me, that's when it all starts.
Did the baby not come last week?
I don't think so.
He went on the paternity list. He went
he went on the leave, and then he went as long as he could on the leave, and the baby didn't come. I think he might be going back on the leave.
Back on the leave? You allowed to do that?
I think so.
I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
I don't know how the paternity list works.
I don't either.
In Major League Baseball.
Get me Doc Pandia.
Yeah. That'll be a
Not
curveball.
that kind of doctor.
I don't worry about Blake Snell
I don't think
either.
that the girlfriend had the baby yet.
The only reason I don't worry, like what you're saying is very fair. He's always been better in the second half. I'll take it even a step further. I don't worry about Blake Snell because that's Blake Snell. Like, don't forget. Like, he didn't forget how to pitch. This person has won 2 Cy Young Awards. Is he fantastic every year? Some years are better than others. But this is Blake Snell. He is not a 10 ERA pitcher.
As of yesterday afternoon, the baby had not come yet.
Okay, no baby. Very good.
Thank you, Grandy. Appreciate you scrubbing in for that real-time update.
You're tapped in on hospitals around the Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if water breaks anywhere, Mark, what's wrong with you people? It's just a father about 21 months ago.
Oh, God.
I'm dialed in.
You've been one for a really long time. Happy early Father's Day.
Thank you.
You better be careful.
You better start early.
Anyway.
A father longer than Granny's been on Earth, for crying out loud.
We're presented by Fremont Bank, full
close.
service banking, no compromises.
Not that close.
We are also sponsored by the Alameda County Probation Department, and Hunter Pence is right around the corner. No, I think you can see it with Blake. Blake is a little bit off, right? And I got touched up here, touched up there, but like if you watch him pitch, you can see those are Blake Snell curveballs. I remember those. Those are like, he's going to be fine. By the way, I also want to mention this. I was told by a friend, one of the games, I think on the last homestand was Little League Day. And so tons of Little Leaguers were out there pre-game, and they cover up, like 2 or 3 sections of the outfield. Blake Snell, Giants representative, went up there, spent almost an hour with all of the Little Leaguers and did not turn down one autograph and could not have done a better job. And there are plenty of you out there who are saying, Willard, I do not care. Fine, I do.
Yeah.
That matters to me.
No, it's awesome.
That matters to me.
I actually got a report from that same outing, and I'm told he also gave up 5 runs.
to 8-year-olds. To 8-year-olds. Yes. Little Bobby took him deep. It was crazy. All right, Hunter Pence joins us next.